can get a few days off work. Other times it can be that I can only see you in the evening, or I can't see you for 3 days, or something like that. So that's one of the reasons, first of all, that we like to have ladies lined up initially to start with, so we've got some with time off on the first day to go from there. So to answer your question, usually, with a little luck, we will find that the lady can get a few days off to perhaps go away to the beach or spend time alone with the gentleman. I cannot guarantee it. The gentleman has to be flexible. He has to be understanding that a lady is not just going to drop everything at the drop of a hat if he just says, I'd like to go out with you and go off to the beach with you, because he may decide after a couple of days he doesn't like her anymore and come back and say, right, I want to meet new ladies, and that lady's maybe jeopardised her job, maybe lost her job. They hire and fire at will over here, I'm afraid, and in Thailand, and it's very difficult to get a job. And another thing to bear in mind, if the lady is in her late 20s or 30 or more than that, if she loses her job, her chances of getting another job are going to be fairly slim. So that's how it works.
What reasons do the men who use your service give for making the decision to use Thai professionals?
There are many reasons, but probably specifically because they want to get the job done. We are a safe pair of hands. We've traded since 1997. We've done many hundreds of successful marriages between Western men and Thai ladies. We have an excellent long-term reputation in this field of work. The fact that they know we can cover every base with our service gives them confidence and makes them invariably come to choose us. We have the largest Thai website for ladies in the world on the internet. We have an excellent reputation. We have appeared on all major medias in the United States. Worldwide, we've been on Reuters, CNN, the BBC. We've appeared throughout the media throughout the world in many occasions. All you have to do is Google my wife's name on the internet. If you type in Tapani Lynch, that's T-H-A-P-A-N-E-E, Lynch, L-Y-N-C-H, on Google, and you can see many examples of a positive news exposure in the media over many years. So basically, they come to us to get the job done because they know we'll do it.
How do you answer the feminists' assertions that it is only the socially and/or physically inadequate Western men who use your service, as they are unable to find a suitable partner in their own country?
This is a commonly asked question. I would say perhaps 30 years ago, the idea of a gentleman going to an introduction agency was that he was some sort of social or physical inadequate, and that he couldn't meet people generally, and he had to actually go to an agency to find people that he could meet, because he wouldn't mix with people generally socially, or he would be unacceptable to them. Times have changed dramatically. I mean, I've heard of even film stars who've met through introduction agencies now. There's no difference between Thai professional as an introduction than any other introduction agency which introduces people of the same culture or in the same country. At the end of the day, we are trying to educate people to understand that the gentlemen who come to us are normal people, gentlemen who could quite easily find a relationship in their own home country with a lady of their choice if they so desire. But the guys who come to us have become disillusioned with the Western dating scene, and they've decided to come to us. They haven't come to us because they're social or physical inadequates. Yes, I get some gentlemen who are very shy, who would have trouble finding partners in their own country, but that is very much in the minority. It may only be 2 or 3%. My average guys, if you looked at them, look on my website, we've got professional men, we've got gentlemen for all walks of life. I've got a US judge I found a wife for, international airline pilots. I've had captains of industry that we found wives for. Now, don't try and tell me that they couldn't find relationships in their own country, but they couldn't find relationships that they find satisfying to themselves, and that's when they've come to us. The ladies that come to us are, serious-minded ladies who are looking for a genuine guy. They're not looking for some sort of loser. We don't have losers coming to us.
What question should a gentleman be asking himself if he's considering using Thai professional service?
He should first of all be asking himself the primary question, which is, am I looking for a potential wife, or am I just looking for a holiday fling? If the answer is the latter, then I suggest he goes somewhere else. But if he's serious and he's looking for a serious partner, that's the first box that we correctly ticked. We need to know his commitment. We need to know that he's committed to finding a potential wife, not just looking for a casual relationship. We need to know also that he has sufficient funds, the ability to afford the total expenditure that will be involved in doing this. So he's got to sit down and do the sums, and I always sit down with clients and tell them it's going to cost that much money, this, and he can sit down and work it out. He knows it's going to take 2 trips, and he knows it's going to take several months from start to finish before everything comes to fruition. So he needs to be able, and this is important also for the visa purposes, to demonstrate on paper ability to be the ladies' inverted commas sponsor. Now the ladies invariably, when they come to the gentleman's home country, will often work, and that is not a problem. But I have to be the devil's advocate when a gentleman comes to me, and I have to assume that one, she's not going to work, and therefore he's going to have to be able to show that he can fully support her. And if his income is insufficient, and there are no figures officially provided by embassies saying you have to earn this much or that much, but we have many years of experience in this, and we use our expertise and we advise clients, yes, I think that'll be okay, or I think you should wait until you get a better job or your circumstances change. At the end of the day, we like to go through everything with the client and let him fully understand what the commitment is, and let him please realise that he's not going out there and expecting to find a wife on the first day. Yes, many of my clients are successful on the very first day, and after that they don't want to see anybody else. But our service is for 12 months with a contract, and I stress this to clients that you don't, yes, 97% of my clients, or more than that, will go out on the first trip and find themselves engaged at the end of the trip. But he has to understand that it takes work, and if he isn't successful on the first or second day, he's got to stick at it. So I make it clear, I don't sugarcoat it. I tell clients what it's like, and if you listen to this whole film, you'll understand where we're coming from.
What is the gentleman's next step if he decides that he wishes to move forward with a view to using Thai professional service?
If a gentleman thinks, yes, I'm interested in using Thai professional to find a Thai wife, he will look at his diary and think of a time perhaps when he would be available to travel to Bangkok for a period, I would suggest, of not less than a week. Now, I do sometimes take clients on who are international businessmen who flit back and forward to the Far East every few weeks, and then, yes, sometimes a guy may go out for 2 or 3 days. But normally a guy has to look at his diary and think, right, I've got 10 days available in 2 months' time or 3 months' time, and then I also will say to him, remember, you've got to have 2 weeks for later because you'll have to make a second trip. So to answer your question, find a suitable time for a flight, contact me. If you decide that you want to move forward, we will point you in the right direction towards finding flights, and once you have basically signed the contract, paid the UK fee, signed up with us, and we know that you're going, we will book a hotel accommodation for you, normally in a 3-star hotel, which is totally flexible. You pay the hotel directly for what you've used after you've used it. I've just had a gentleman today who's going off on a short break with his fiancée. He's just got engaged to her, and he's telling the hotel tonight, I'm checking out tomorrow morning, paying for what he's used, and he'll come back and have a couple of nights at the end. We don't recommend you book a package with a hotel included, because you'll almost certainly be paying for nights in the hotel that you won't need.
What do you consider to be the major contributory factors responsible for the ever upward spiralling divorce rate of indigenous couples in the West?
I think at the end of the day we live in a fast-track society, and I feel that people in the same cultures often are looking at marriage in the respect that, well, we'll get married, if it doesn't work out after 3 or 4 years, we'll just get divorced. And that may be okay for some people, but it's not the mindset of the gentlemen that come to us. The gentlemen that come to us have either A, never been married, or have been married once or twice before, and they feel that they're disillusioned with the Western dating scene. So I would say to you that probably the prime reason why marriages perhaps don't last in the West is because maybe people going into the marriage don't feel that it's a lifetime commitment. They may just feel it's sort of we'll marry for a few years and see how it gets on, and how we get on, and that's not the mindset that the guys that come to us have. So I think people take marriage in a different light in the West now, and they look at it sort of in a sort of a more casual manner, which is perhaps inappropriate. And the gentlemen who come to us are looking for ladies who are looking for a life partner, and that's what these men are often looking for. I mean, I think I'm finding now that there are more men that are actually coming to me saying, well, I'm looking for a wife. There's more women in my country not bothered about being married at all. They're just quite happy to play the field and have a bit of fun, and then chew the guy up and spit him out. And the guys that come to us are looking for perhaps what you would consider as a traditional wife, but they're looking for a long-term partner. And the guys that come to us they've committed that they put their money where their mouth is. They're prepared to travel several thousand miles to come and use our service. So they are committed, and they're out there to do the business. And if they're out there to do the business, we will deliver for them.
Overall, would you say that all Anglo-Thai marriages have a better success rate than the same culture marriages?
I would say overall yes, but not necessarily as dramatically as one would think. Remember, there are many gentlemen who go to Thailand as what you can only call sex tourists, who will often go and end up with a lady that they met in some hotel or bar, who has wrapped the man around their little finger and hoodwinked him into coming over to his home country, staying with him for 2 or 3 years, and then getting rid of him. Now, and at the end of the day, these marriages, I'm not saying that all marriages between Western men and bar girls don't succeed, but I'm saying that a very high percentage of them do not. Now, I'm not saying that every single man who marries a Thai lady marries a bar girl, but what I'm saying is that it's inevitable. A high percentage of men go to Thailand, often will find a lady that they've met socially. It's almost impossible to meet a lady socially in Thailand and actually have long-term success. What happens often, in a very high percentage of cases, with these sorts of marriages, is that the lady will come over here, bide her time for a few years and say, goodbye, I'm looking for a richer prospect. Now, that tempers the success level overall, I would suggest, of Anglo-Thai marriages. But they're probably still more successful. But if you were to take the bar girls out of the scenario, you'd have a completely different picture.
What about the success rate of Anglo-Thai marriages arranged through Thai professionals?
Our success rate is phenomenally high. It's probably in excess of 97%, 98%. We've done many, many hundreds of marriages, and I could count the divorces probably on just both hands. There's many reasons for this. Both parties are committed, usually, who come to us, so that's a good starting point. The guys know that the ladies are looking for a serious partner, and vice versa. It's not some sort of casual holiday fling, as gentlemen maybe who meet ladies out in a holiday environment who come to Thailand or go to Pattaya or wherever else they want to go. Our success rate is phenomenally high because both parties who do this are invariably committed to doing it. But there are failures, and there will continue to be failures. Very few, but there will be failures where gentlemen sometimes, or ladies sometimes, will not listen to maybe some advice that we give, suggesting, look, we don't feel this is maybe a suitable relationship, or maybe the age differential is too big. At the end of the day, the client will say to me, well, I paid the money, I want to meet this lady, she wants to be with me, so be it. They make their bed, they have to lie in it. But overall, a very, very high percentage of marriages are successful, in the very high 90%.
What is the situation from a man meeting a lady with a child or children?
First of all, it's a slightly different situation perhaps from the Western mind would perceive, inasmuch in the West, if a couple divorces or splits up, the children are either staying with the mother, or they're staying with the father, or whatever, and then there's visiting rights every weekend, or however it pans out. At the end of the day, in Thailand, if a lady comes to us and she's got a child, she will almost invariably find that the child is not actually even probably living with the mother. She's quite likely living out in the country with the grandparents or aunts and uncles, and sending some keep back to them to look after them. So to answer your question, first of all, that's the scenario of the children and the Thai ladies. The Thai ladies will often come over minus child or children to start with the ladies' children possibly coming over later. But children play a big part in this. I get clients coming over with their children sometimes, and I think that's quite a good idea because they see exactly what they're taking on. But at the end of the day,